Hello. Well, we're a few days away from Christmas. At least at the moment we're doing this podcast. So I have a few announcements again. Um, One is watch the weather forecast. Today is December 21st. So watch the weather forecast regarding Christmas Mass schedule and watch our website. Go to our website and before you come to Mass on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day to see how we're going, okay? But I want to encourage you to come to Mass, but the worst weather is Thursday night and Friday. Don't know how things will be by Saturday afternoon when we have our first Christmas Mass. So again, please check. We will not be having a 6 o'clock Mass. Father Bob was scheduled for it, but I don't want him risking, bad weather driving from Detroit out here. So no 6 o'clock. But so far we still will have the 4 on Saturday and the 10:30 Mass on Saturday night, and then the 10 o'clock Sunday morning, Christmas morning, okay? Please remember, I think that if you're giving to the church, especially giving generously this year, and you want to give before the tax year is out, please remember us fondly in your generosity, and knowing that we still need the money to help us finish off a few bucks we have to pay on the church parking lot, but we have a lot to go yet on the office parking lot and detention pond, okay? So we sure can use your help. Make those checks out to the church, drawing attention to the memo of the parking lot. Thank you very much. I'll start out with a little funny. What do you call Santa Claus falling down the chimney? Santa Claus. Just to get us going, okay? Matthew Kelly had a recent podcast I really enjoyed. It was on planning to fail. Now, what does he mean by that? Matthew is saying, too many of us want to do too much at this time of year, or we want to, let's say, please too many people, or impress too many people. He said the secret of success is choosing to fail. That is, by making a choice to do one thing well, you're going to have to say no to many other things, which means, in essence, you haven't done it. You could say you failed at it. But that's true, of any choice we make throughout the day, or any life choices we make. We say yes to one thing, but we're saying no to others. So those others don't get accomplished. Now, I suggest, for instance, choosing to succeed at one thing for Christmas. Maybe just choose to really please one relative this Christmas, especially those who may be visiting you. Choose to please one. Now, that doesn't mean you intentionally displease the others, but you're not going to wear yourself out, worry yourself out, or tucker yourself out trying to please 3 others, who come with the game. Some attention, of course, you're going to give them. It'll never be enough, probably, but for one, you can really do a nice job, and it's going to look like you're playing favorites, perhaps, but you got to decide. Are you going to displease all of them by, giving half-baked to each, or are you going to really please one by giving your time and attention, perhaps some nice little gift to one, and the others do your best? The funny thing is, when you do say no to the others whom you've excluded from your conscientious choice of one, you do affect the others too favorably, believe it or not. God helps you in that direction. But God doesn't want us setting ourselves up for knockdowns. And we do that on a daily basis by and if we are trying to do too much, too much. And then we feel as though at the end of the day we've really succeeded in very little, if nothing at all. We haven't really accomplished one thing adequately or enough to please ourselves. And maybe therein lies the problem. We cannot handle failure of any sort, so we try to do too much too well. And one thing, just tackle the one thing for Christmas Day. I don't know if I told you that the last podcast, but my spiritual director said to me a couple of weeks ago, he said, look for the one gift God has to give you on Christmas Day. Keep your eyes and ears open. The day is only a few days away. What does God have in store for you? We always look to see what we can give him, but also he wants to give to us. Okay? Maybe in choosing to fail, as I say, we're going to maybe make a choice to spend more time in prayer the next few days. By doing that, it might mean we have to say no to as much sleep as we'd like. Or we might have to say no to answering and or making phone calls early in the morning. We're just going to say yes to God and give him the 15 minutes, half hour, or hour of silence. Just give that to him in prayer or reading your Bible or, as I say, maybe praying the rosary or lifting up people who are in need, remembering them before God. And as I say, by choosing to spend that time with God, you are saying no to a lot of other possibilities for that hour, which means you might fail in getting the adequate sleep you thought you needed. But watch when you give it to God in prayer, how adequate a less time can be under the sheets, so to speak. Failing, of course, does not make you a failure. Isn't it strange to say, I failed in this or I failed in that? You are a success in some other thing or things, but you are not a failure at having consciously chosen to say no where you should say no, and yes to where you should say yes for Jesus. Okay, now I got to leave you with, let me see. Oh, I got a piece of good news. This is just for you who are in the parish. I know the world doesn't have to know this, but I went to my heart doctor today. I've had a pacemaker for a couple of years, and I got to share with you after he gave me my 6-month checkup. He said, you know what? He's 62. He said, my prayer to God, and he said, I know it's going to be for you, that I'm here 9 years from now, still able to put in another year of medical practice. And he said, my expectant prayer is that you will be here longer than that as my patient. So he said, you're going to outlive your pacemaker. Isn't that a great sound? I like that. Provided I'm not drooling, thank you. My heart is one thing, the rest of me is another. You heard, did I tell you last week that Jesus, the baby, weighed 6 pounds, 7 ounces? 6 pounds, 7 ounces. You know how we found that out? It was away in the manger. Okay, I knew you'd like that. I told it to my doctor today. He couldn't stop laughing. He's very intelligent and very accommodating. And finally, a little Christmas story. Joseph whispers to Mary as they're entering Bethlehem that night, honey, I am so sorry to have to tell you I did not make a reservation. And thus began Silent Night. Night, night. Merry Christmas.